They were right. The reviews were absolutely correct. Nope, it wasn't good. We say goodbye. Of course, it's the moment I'm speaking about books that I forget everything I know about English. Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we are doing the unhaul of all the books that I decluttered from my bookshelves. So this comes after the video I made of me reorganizing and cleaning my bookshelves. So you can watch the video. And now let's do the unhaul. This is The Wall of Winnipeg by Marianna Zapata, except this is the French translation. Yes, The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Marianna Zapata. And you have to understand that I loved this book. I adored it. It was incredible. So I read it in one sitting, and it is a chunk of a book. Like it is a book, okay? I read it in one sitting. I loved it, adored it. And it was at the time when I didn't speak English enough to be able to read the English version of it. A few years later, I have reread that book. I have adored it as much, and I will buy myself the physical copy in English. So we can say goodbye to this one, because I will not be rereading this again, and I will be rereading the English version probably for a third time. In the French books category, we have another Marianna Zapata. This one is hands down, if I remember correctly. No, it's Wait for It, French version of Wait for It. Once again, this book was incredible. The Wall of Winnipeg and Me, it was a 5 stars. I loved it. It was incredible. And I had such a good time. But this one I read in one sitting. I had an exam the next day. I just couldn't put it down. Even with the pressure, even with all the anxiety induced by the exam, I couldn't stop reading this book. It was just so good. It had me in tears by the end. I was just so involved, and it was just such an amazing book. I highly recommend, but this is exactly going to be the same as the previous book. I just don't need the French version. I'm going to reread the English version, buy a physical copy of the English version, and move on. So I think this book deserves another reader who's going to love this. So I'm gonna be selling it. And the last one in the French category is this one. This is Les de Coeur by Morgane Moncomble. This is actually a French author, so this is not a translation. But I'm talking about this because I think if you are learning French and you want to read French books the same way I wanted to read English books when I started to learn. I didn't start to learn, I started to improve significantly. So if you want to improve significantly because you have good basis and you have good grammar and you want to, try to use it more and more in something that is fun, I highly recommend this kind of book. This is a romance. I highly recommend this author as well, because she is writing beautiful stories, beautiful romances, very interesting, quite intricate as well. I really liked it. But I'm not keeping this book because I am not going to reread this. I liked it the first time. I sincerely don't remember much. The next category that we have is romances that will be unhauling. I have 8 books that I want to unhaul in the romance category. The first one that we have is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. This was so anticlimactic. It was just boring. I read it, didn't like it. I decided to switch to audiobook because I was like, maybe I'm gonna like it more. I didn't. It was a 3 stars. To be honest, more of a 2.5 stars because it was just incredibly boring. I didn't like it. Fortunately, I bought it secondhand, so I didn't pay a lot of money to read this book, and that is a good thing because it wasn't good. So we are unhauling this. And ever since I put it in my bookshelves, I was looking at it and be like, ugh, you're gonna disappear soon, I don't like you. So we're doing this today. Next, we have Written in the Stars by Alexandria Bellefleur. This book has a story, and it is a bit difficult for me to get rid of it, but also, yeah. This is actually my boyfriend who offered me this book. No reason, just he was like, oh look, I got you a book. That sounds nice. And I was like, yeah, it does. It wasn't. That was really bad. To be completely honest, I saw no chemistry between the two characters. This is supposed to be some kind of Pride and Prejudice retelling. I read Pride and Prejudice before reading this book. I didn't see any resemblance between them and the characters from Pride and Prejudice. The only thing that could be a tiny bit similar was the name of the characters, but come on, it's not because they are called Elizabeth and Darcy that the book is exactly the same. I mean, no, just names. So that was boring. It was... No, I didn't have a good time. To be completely honest, I read this so quick because I just wanted to be done with it. So this is not staying. After that, we have The X Talk by Lynn Solomon. I did enjoy it, probably, maybe not, I don't remember. To be honest, I read this book in 2020, if I remember correctly. It was the moment I was starting to read romances. So my expectations were extremely low. And this was the kind of book that was popular on Goodreads. Nobody talked about it on Book Talk or on BookTube or anything. It's just that Goodreads put it in the best books to read in 2020, something like that. And I decided to read it. I shouldn't have. And that is a mistake that I understood after reading this book. I should trust booktubers. I shouldn't trust Goodreads. Because this was supposed to be some kind of really good enemies to lovers situation. Once again, no chemistry whatsoever. It was boring. It went to 0, 0, 0, 100. 0, 100. And I was like, okay, it is so unrealistic. I absolutely do not see any form of chemistry. I don't care. I want to be done with it. I gave it 3 stars. I am not keeping this book. It has been sitting on my shelf for way too long, so we say goodbye. After that, we have 3 books that are still romances. It's more on the I liked it, will not reread again, and I genuinely don't care anymore kind of situation. I liked it. It's not like the 2 previous one when I didn't care. I didn't like it. This one I did. It was a solid 3 stars. A 3.5 perhaps. The first one that we have is The Love Con by Seressia Glass. Very good, very nice, very fun. This is about this girl. She creates cosplay and she is in that TV show where she has to compete to create this cosplay. And the problem is that in that TV shows, she said that this dude was her boyfriend, except he wasn't at that time. And so they have to fake date, and it's a bit more than just fake dating because this dude is her best friend, and so you know what is going to happen. It was good. It wasn't incredible, but I still had a good time. The relationship between the two was very good, and I liked it. But it wasn't extraordinary. So we're saying goodbye. After that, we have I Kissed Shara. I read this because I wanted to do a reading vlog. I did the reading vlog. I annotated a few things. Other than that, this was not for me. And I know that Casey McQuiston is not for me. I read 2 of her previous books, didn't like them. I think that it is safe to say that she's not an author for me. And so this was okay. And I had very low expectations for this book, but this was just okay. So we're giving that away. Then there was this book, Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry. This was actually very good. This was a 4 stars, definitely. This was by Joya Goffney. And I had a very good time reading this book, but the problem is it was YA. And I know this is not for me. And I knew when I was picking this book up that it was very childish, very teenager in America, which is absolutely not my experience of high school, like not at all. So I couldn't relate to anything, but it was still interesting. It was still interesting. I still had a good time. I still liked it. I will never read this book, and I will probably never think about this anymore. So I don't want to have that on my shelves. I know this is not me anymore, and it wasn't me at that time anyway. So let's move on. The reason why I am unhauling all of these books is because I feel like if someone entered my room and looked at my bookshelves, I want my bookshelf to represent what I am, who I am, and what are my interests. And I feel like these kind of books do not represent who I am, and they're not significant. And so if someone is like, oh my god, you like this book, me too, I would be like, yeah, definitely. And no, it's not me. After that, we have these two. We have After Love by Tanya Beam. This was something. Interesting, but once again, it's YA. I didn't relate. I couldn't relate. I didn't care. It was good though. It was really good. I highly recommend if you're looking for some kind of sapphic reads, if you're looking for some kind of YA, some good exploration of death and grief. If you're looking at all of that, this is a very good book. But at that moment, it was mid. I still, if I remember correctly, I still get this 4 stars. So it was still good, but it wasn't extraordinary. And finally, we have Night Shift by Annie Crown. I was so mad at this book. This book, I got it from a blind date with a book creator on Etsy who selects books, and she created this beautiful box with it, with stickers, bookmarks, a teacup. It was beautiful. It was such a beautiful experience. I loved it. It was beautiful. And I torn the paper apart. I saw it was this book, and I knew I didn't have high expectations because I heard reviews of this book. I heard people say that it was quite average, not incredible. And I read it. And they were right. The reviews were absolutely correct. Nope, it wasn't good. It was... No. Miscommunication. 80% of the book is miscommunication. Like, just shut up, talk to one another. Stop trying to understand. No, stop doing that. It's ridiculous. You talk. After that, I am unhauling these 2 books. Yes, Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, because I will be buying the English version and rereading Six of Crows. I had such an amazing time reading these 2 books. I know that the French translation is not the best. It was, it's the problem with translation is that it's not exactly the same. So I want to reread these books with the English version of it. I want to re-experience everything. And what is perfect is that I read it a long time ago. So I remember enough, but not enough. So I remember that I loved it. I remember each character. I don't know anything more. I just remember a few plot points, maybe. I don't know. But I just know that I will dive back into a world that I adored. I will just meet and just go back to this incredible story, but in English, so it's not going to be exactly the same experience. So I will be giving that away because I don't need these books anymore. But they are definitely in my to-buy shelf on Goodreads. So they are the next books that I will be buying. And finally, the next 2 books that we have are graphic novels. The first one that we have is Saga. And that is completely my fault, is when I ordered it on Amazon, I didn't understand that this was the French version of saga, and so I started the series in English, and then I got that in French. And what is so annoying is that it is in hardcover. The first volume that I had was paperback, you know, the comic paperback kind of thing. So now I have this. So I will be giving that away because I don't care about the French version of this. The translation, it's a translation, it's not exactly the same. So yeah, I will be selling that. And the last book in this Unhaul is Coming Back by Jessie Zabarski. The art style is good. It's pretty. The story, forgettable. And ununderstandable. I didn't understand anything. Like, I was like, this was probably just vibe, no plot kind of story. Beautiful, but I will never be rereading this. And even if I do, it's just gonna be a mid experience. So why bother? This was the Unhaul. I hope you liked it. I hope you had a good time hearing about me trash talking about books. If you have read any of these books and you loved them, I am so sorry. You have good tastes. It's just not the same as mine. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Comment down below if you have read any of this book, if you unhaul books frequently, or if you just hoard books because they are your prized possession. I really want to know how things are going for you. And please subscribe if you want to have more videos like that. And I will see you very soon in another video. Bye!